win?
Yeah!
We're ready to win. We're at the end of the year, but just wait. This new year is about to be exciting in the city of Minneapolis. Am I right?
Yeah.
We got mayoral candidates, looking at Omar Fateh, who's running. We got all 13 council members running for re-election. That hasn't happened in a long time. I see Council President Elliot Payne, Councilmember Wansley, my CVP, Council Vice President Aisha Chugtai, all in the building. We also got people running for Park Board. Michael Wilson, he's running for Park Board at large. Some new council members that are going to be putting their hat in the ring. We have Jameson Whitting back there running for Ward 11. So all I have to say for the 12th Ward, well, I have actually a lot to say more than this, but buckle up. We're about to have a fun time, and we're about to take on the good fight. So I'm Councilwoman Aurins Chowdhury. I represent the 12th Ward, and I am beyond grateful to have received a mandate from you all in the 12th Ward to be elected and represent you at City Hall every day. I'm a first-generation Bengali American. I'm the daughter to working-class immigrants who raised me up here in Minneapolis over by Sibley Park. I see my mom and my sister and brother who are here today. Just thank you so much for being here. I'm the first person of color to represent the 12th Ward. I'm the first Muslim to represent the 12th Ward. I'm the youngest ever, which is fun. And one thing that has just only been reinforced for me in this last year of representing our community is that I am proud to be a fierce fighter for working people, the working class, and families here in our city. I fundamentally believe in order for us to have a healthy and strong and caring multi-generational, multiracial community and democracy, we as a city here as a frontline have to center people first in our work.
Yeah.
We have to work against the status quo of letting moneyed interests have the first say. We have to stand against large developers making decisions before the people that we are set to serve. And we have to recognize in the city of Minneapolis, we're in a crossroads, right? We live in a tale of two cities, right? Some people are privileged and wealthy enough to never have to worry about their basic needs. And some people in our communities have to fight every single day to find a warm place to sleep at night, to have clean air, clean water. And that's something that we're working really hard as a progressive majority to address. I would not have been here today elected as a council member without you. It was truly a work of the people. It was truly a victory for you. And together we grew a big and broad coalition that showed up to City Hall this last year. Alongside me and my colleagues, we were able to deliver not only for the 12th Ward, but the entire city. And I just want to kind of talk my stuff a little bit. I want to talk my stuff a little bit. So what did we get done? Let me start with where we were at the top of the year. Well, first, let me just say, I got sworn in early to City Hall. I got elected, and then 2 weeks later, I slept a little bit, and then started up on the city budget with my colleagues. So I haven't gotten a break until, honestly, after this event, that I'll get my first break. I'm excited about it, and honestly, it was a privilege to step up in that moment. One of the first things that we did when we organized our government, our city council, is we heard an outcry and a need from our community across the city to call for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Yeah.
To speak with morality and clarity and say, no, we are not going to allow for our government to use our dollars to commit a genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to stand against the false notion that this is not a local issue. I I met so many people in the 12th Ward reach out to my office and say, support a ceasefire resolution. Say with clarity that this is a genocide. Say that we want an end to arms to Israel. We don't want our taxpayer dollars to go there. We're struggling enough as it is over here. I met Palestinian constituents here in the 12th who were deeply impacted, reaching out to me, their city council member, because the federal government wasn't stepping up. It came to the local level. I spoke with our Jewish community, our Muslim community, and we found solidarity in one another. And we took that ceasefire resolution and we went to the United States Capitol and brought it to Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar. And I just want to say, like, there was just this large argument that was being pushed by a lot of those moneyed interests, by a lot of the folks who didn't want to see progressive change and that status quo, saying, why isn't the city council focused on local issues? And I'm here to say, standing up with moral clarity in a moment in our world where our constituents are asking for it is not in competition for standing up for local issues at all. So let me tell you about the most productive city council in recent history. We have the data and the numbers and the ordinances and meetings to prove that. And one of the things that I was really proud to be a leader in and work with the progressive majority on was fighting for workers. We took up a huge fight. We took up a huge fight to get a minimum wage for rideshare drivers in our city. And it was a big one because, again, people who relied on ride services, our senior community, our disability community was being pitted against drivers who were making a sub-minimum wage. And we were being told to stand down by these large corporations and their lobbyists. And we didn't waver. We actually ended up working with Senator Fateh, Representative Samantha Sensormara, Senator Zaina Mohammed, Representative Hodan Hassan. We went to the Capitol, me, Councilmember Wansley, Councilmember Chavez, Council Vice President Chugtai, and we took a breath, we slowed down a bit, we negotiated, and we were able together, before the end of session, help support pass the strongest rideshare protections and wage increase in the nation. We made a real effort to break down silos between government when it came to showing up for working people. We stood up for park workers. Again, another moment. People are saying, that's not your lane, stand down. Of course it's my lane. The people I represent are the ones that are taking care of our parks. They're the ones that rely on our parks. We stood up for park workers and they were able to get what they were owed in their contract. We stood up for educators and families, and we still are doing that work and figuring out how we can make sure that our students, educators, and parents are supported when we're looking at a deficit in the public schools, and we'll keep on doing that work. We secured, for the first time ever since the wage theft prevention ordinance was passed, ongoing funding to ensure that workers' organizations like, say, TOOL was able to not have to fight tooth and nail every budget in order to get funding to make sure that the lowest paid workers in our city, primarily immigrants, they could make sure that their wages were given back to them. And that's a huge deal. We fought for a labor standards board in order to give workers a voice at the table with their employers so they could fight for things sector by sector. If you're a security guard, training across the board so you could handle dangerous situations. If you're a childcare worker, making sure your working conditions are good. If you're working in construction, making sure that your working conditions are safe. And unfortunately, that was vetoed and sustained. However, that's why I'm going back for another 4 years. We're going to get that labor standards. One of the biggest things that I committed to when I first kicked off my campaign was a commitment to address unsheltered homelessness and homelessness in the city of Minneapolis with the lens of compassion, dignity, and care for our unhoused community. And again, breaking down this false narrative that housed people and unhoused people are in competition with each other for resources or our compassion or our effort as a local government. And in December of 2023, again, 2 months after I was elected, one of the first things we worked on as a city council was declaring unsheltered homelessness a public health emergency, which was foundational for our work that we did as a majority this last year. And I want to just take a quick moment to thank all the organizers, the unhoused folks that showed up to our chambers, the people in Campton and Akasi who have been fighting alongside with us. I'm looking at you, Kristen Crabtree. We fought for and won an encampment reporting ordinance modeled after something that was done in New York City. What is that? It is transparency that's deeply needed when it comes to the city of Minneapolis. We know that nobody wants to live in an encampment. It's not a safe or dignified place to live, but we also know that just evicting encampments over and over again and moving people around is not the solution. And there was no transparency when it came to the administration around how much this was costing the taxpayer, and if people were actually reaching out to service providers, if people were actually getting housing assessments, if they were getting access to detox, what were the safety concerns? So we passed the encampment reporting ordinance, and we should expect our first report in the new year in the first quarter. I'm gonna keep on talking my stuff, y'all, because you need to hear, you need to spread the good word about what we worked on. We worked on securing funding this budget, which was vetoed, but we overrode it. We overrode it. We secured funding for humane encampment response, making sure that there was storage, hand washing stations, garbage pickup, basic needs for any human being as we're trying to figure out how we're going to reduce homelessness in the city of Minneapolis. That is not a pet project, that's a need.
Right.
We secured, through the leadership of Councilmember Wansley, emergency housing vouchers ongoing, which is proven to be one of the most effective ways to address homelessness and stabilize community members. And then we were thinking about renters who might be facing instability, and we passed a pre-eviction notice ordinance that extended the time from 14 days to 30 days for an individual to pay their rent, right? If they were facing an eviction for non-payment of rent, which is super important because it lined up our systems, because it takes about 28 days to get emergency assistance at Hennepin County. Woo! So multi-generational. We fought for families. I fought for families. That was super important to me, and super important in thinking about our parents and the youngest Minneapolisans that we have in our city. We did a historic expansion of the Stable Homes, Stable Schools program this year through our city budget. It's gonna help 180 to 220 new families. It's a big deal. With work that I did with Representative Samantha Sincermura and our school board, we were able to push and push and push and ensure that Cooper Playground in the Cooper neighborhood is saved. MPS is going to maintain ownership, and we're going to work on securing additional funding so those upgrades can be made, and that playground can be a place where more generations of kids can play and families can send their kids. We fought for our senior community, our beloved senior community. We were looking at a cut this budget cycle of a transportation program that many solo seniors who it's themselves, maybe they have a family member, but they're taking care of themselves, relied on to get around our city. 800 plus rides. We were able to support ongoing funding to keep this service up for our seniors. We also looked at it from a race equity lens, and we thought about our BIPOC seniors and our lowest income seniors, and we did funding for a senior navigator program that was going to end this year with the sunset of American Rescue Plan dollars. Now we're looking at having these navigators that connect with seniors across our city who speak different languages to help them find resources for another 4 years. And the list goes on and on. We did did stuff for comprehensive safety. We have a Lake Street Safety Center where you can get services in person, 311 services on the south side where you can file a police report, where you can meet with a crime prevention specialist. We got funding for this neighborhood, Hiawatha neighborhood, to address the livability issues and crime issues through a preventative lens and bring some necessary tools here that aren't police. And we formed a table here with our local businesses and residents to continue that work, and we did the same for the Longfellow neighborhood. We also got funding for opioid response, needle pickup, and again, the list goes on. And then I just want to give a shout out to the expansion of the behavioral crisis response team. We're looking at building that out so it can be its own standalone department. And I just look at our council president, who was the person who was at the start of creating behavioral crisis response and just has been a steadfast leader in our majority to make sure that we were able to expand it to 5 vans from 2. Huge deal. We supported our local businesses in the 12th ward. I came in and I was just like, ooh, we have a bunch of we have like a dusty shelf of books, all of these places that haven't been reached out to in a really long time. And we started forging relationships with our local businesses and finding ways to support them. Proud to be in one of our local businesses today. Thank you again to Emmanuel and Fancy for their commitment to the community and their support for my campaign. We were able to pass a budget amendment that allows businesses that face hardship during construction to apply for forgivable loans, which is going to be a huge deal this next year. And we were able to fight for our local cannabis businesses that are dreaming of becoming a dispensary.
Love it.
I'll be blunt, it was a fight. It was a fight.
So blunt.
But we rolled it up. In the next coming years, Minneapolis is going to be the joint for cannabis.
Y'all smoked it.
I'm bringing the dad jokes with me for the next 4 years. We're almost there, y'all. Addressing climate change. I know Councilmember Cashman's not in the room, but she's been a spectacular leader in our progressive majority as well, and we've been able to increase funding for zero waste initiatives, make a plan to close down the HERC. We took a position to close down the garbage incinerator in the city of Minneapolis. We were able to pass essentially a carbon tax for polluters in our city to, again, figure out how we can hold polluters accountable and get to our clean energy goals in the city of Minneapolis. And I'm really proud to be a part of the Minnehaha Creek Watershed Policy Group, where we're really fighting on the health of our lakes and natural systems, particularly Lake Hiawatha. And on top of all of it, let me just say, we improved basic services in the city of Minneapolis. We are expanding traffic calming so our streets are safer. We are going to see if we see snow this year, a municipal snow plowing program or shoveling program that's targeted take place this next year. And we also increase funding for animal care and control that obviously makes sure that animals are taken care of, put up for adoption. But if you live in the 12th ward, you know that we have to deal with turkeys, raccoons, foxes. I always see on Longfellow Social, someone's like, what do I do? This fox has some mange. Like, you gotta call animal care and control. So we made some key investments there. And I just wanna say, thank you so much to my colleagues. Thank you to every single person for believing in this progressive majority and believing in me. Without getting me elected, we wouldn't have had that. And we wouldn't have been able to lead in the way that we led this year, centering working people and our community first, our constituents. And the productivity that we had is actually just a reflection of you all. It's because we were responsive to the needs that you were bringing us, or the things you were leading and advocating for. And so, looking into the next 4 years, we're going to keep on building up that work. We're going to look at safe outdoor spaces, safe parking to address unsheltered homelessness. We're going to take on a $13 million fiscal cliff. We're going to ensure that we're going to go to the Capitol, work with Representative Samantha Sensenmura, and get that last bit of bonding money for the urban farm in East Villa. hold our police department accountable when it comes to training, discipline, and transparency. We're going to expand our comprehensive safety services, and we're going to keep on addressing climate change at the local level. And I know we're headed into a moment in time that's going to be deeply dark, but we have each other. Looking at this Trump administration, I know what my mission is. I know what my mandate is with you all. It's to build a resilient community that is dedicated to protecting Black and Brown Indigenous residents, to fighting for our immigrant residents, to making sure that our LGBTQ residents, especially our trans residents, are protected and safe, and they feel that Minneapolis is a place that has their back, that we're fighting really, really hard at the local level to get increased funding for climate resiliency and make the improvements that we need here. And I just want to say, as we enter into this moment and as we go into the city election, where it's going to be hyper-local, remember that politics is local, and that every effort that you make, whether it's a donation to my campaign, whether it's door knocking, whether it's showing up in your ward, whether it's spreading the good work of what we've done and combating disinformation that oftentimes comes from the administration, that is all very helpful, and it's going to make us resilient. And we're also, despite what's coming, we're going to have a lot of fun together. And we're going to find joy in this work, and we're going to find joy in each other. So thank you so much. I love you. So one last thing, campaigns cost money, and Amy Omanzor Diaz, she doesn't work as my campaign manager, but she was my campaign manager, so she knows a thing or two about that, but she's still here in the 12th Ward office, but she wanted to make a word about that.
Thank you. Hello again. I just wanted to say a few words before I make this ask. I just wanted to say that I see day in and day out the amount of work and care that Aurins puts into the Ward 12 office and for Ward 12 residents. Her dedication truly is inspiring. And I'm in there with her, so I know firsthand she's working hard. And so this year will be both an exciting one and a tough one. So we need your help to ensure that Aurins crosses the finish line in 2025 to continue the hard work in City Hall. So your donation this evening will go directly towards supporting our people-powered campaign and to ensure campaign staff get paid, that we have rally signs, that we have phone banks, door knocks, t-shirts, etc., etc. And the max donation for 2024 is $250. Can I see a show of hands of who is supporting the campaign and maxing out tonight? Yes, give her a hand, y'all. Raise those hands up. Yes, how about $100? Who's donating $100? Yeah, there we go. All right, round of applause. All right, now I'm asking who's donating $50? $50. Wonderful. 25.
Yep, whatever.
Reoccurring. Awesome. Yeah, we have QR codes. There's folks going around with QR codes. Beautiful. And please show your support and donate whatever feels most meaningful to you. Yet we do have QR folks around the building and folks going around with QR folks. Thank you so much again, everyone. Please continue to eat and mingle, and we'll see you soon in 2025.